Happy Friday, everyone. I just wanted to do a short video. I didn't want to make it a part of the other presentations just because this is me talking about the way I'm voting and why. This is just basically to inform you on the things that I have researched and found out and why I'm voting the way I am this November. First and foremost, spoiler alert, I'm voting for Trump. The reason isn't like what you think. I personally don't like the man, but I personally don't care for Kamala Harris either. So they're kind of an uneven keel there. So likability, I don't really like either one of them. To be truthful, I really wanted the governor of Florida to be out there. I liked him better. I liked him because he was humble. He was straightforward. He was no nonsense. He didn't mudsling. He didn't do anything that I could see that really was of bad character. So I liked him a lot better. I didn't really care for Nikki Haley. You know, it just, other than, I don't know, there's just something about her I just didn't like. So here's where I stack on the main things. Abortion. I am pro-life. I don't agree with abortion for the hell of it. That's the main thing. That's my main problem with abortion. But here's the thing, and I also don't agree with late-term abortions either. I don't agree with that unless there is a medical reason. So I'm not a doctor, and I feel like we're getting into that. So the abortion thing, you know, it's too easily manipulated. I don't agree with Kamala Harris's point of view on it, although there's been a lot of really big strife with President Trump pushing things down to the states. I always have believed that it gets worse before it gets better. I know that it sucks for those who are affected by it. And also it had unintended consequences that this probably fleshed out. And that is with fertilization, in vitro fertilization, and how that's handled. And it really, the other thing that kind of bothers me about everything with this is it kind of lumps in all the other healthcare stuff. You know, because it's reproductive rights, it kind of starts lumping in some of the things with children who are undecided of their gender. Now, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because that is completely a parental issue. But I will say I don't agree with any child being able to go below the age of consent, which is 18, and make decisions like this. I don't believe in the parents being cut out of decisions with abortion either. I don't believe that a girl can be able to just shut her parents completely out like that. I get that it can be abused. I get that, but everything can. Every law can be abused. But taking the power out of our parents is not the answer. And the reason why is look at our kids today. Look at the lack of work ethic. Look at the lack of responsible taking. None of the kids take responsibility for anything. There are few, but if you'll look at those few, generally they come from pretty well-balanced homes where there is a proper involvement of the parent. And so that's something that affects all of us. It doesn't matter whether it's a mixed family of any sort, whether it's two moms, two dads, mom and dad, or mixed races or whatever. That affects all of us as parents. You know, I don't have kids, but as parents, I can totally see where you wouldn't want the school system making decisions for your kid. So, you know, that's a big thing. And some of this bleeds into it. Some of these bills, because all of our politicians are crooked, regardless, you have to go with the lesser of the evils. they piggyback things in on these policies. They like when you approve it, you approve a lot of it, the whole lot, and it's too much. It's really kind of dangerous, and unless these politicians have all this time to read the fine print, I don't know how any of them make any decisions, because they're all trying to push their own agendas, all of them. I'm not biased towards any party in that they all push their agendas, but I do think something does need to federally happen, but on that term of it, I don't really lean towards Harris necessarily, because she's too free on it. But I know that Trump went the other way, and this is a case of far left and far rights going too far one way or the other, and then everybody else getting caught in the crossfire. But I honestly do feel like Trump had good intentions in doing that. And if you don't believe me, just look at states like New York and California. There's your problem, children, and probably why this came into issue is because they were performing late-term abortions, and it wasn't valid, or the validity of it was questionable. And it's just, and then also for a child, that if you choose to have the child and they're having complications, and you don't want to deal with it, and you just choose to let that child die, that's still within your decision-making power. So in that regard, Roe v. Wade goes too far. If there was something more middle ground, I think that's really what needs to be negotiated. But yet, keeping Roe v. Wade, which is what Kamala supports, is too far. And then also, the pro-life stuff, and considering that if you dropped eggs or they're maybe considered not viable, that a crime, that's too far. So that's where the left got involved, and so that stuff, really, I wish politicians would realize they're dealing with real people, not just, policies on their papers. So I lean more towards the pro-life side of that with the on abortion. On the economy, I'm sorry, under Biden, it's been an absolute mess. It's been a mess under several presidents. Obama, it was a mess. And then you have people like Trump. He did better after Obama. Obama's on record for being one of the highest spending tax dollar presidents. He's on record for being that. And then you have Trump that come in, and that one president is always kind of cleaning up the other one's mess a little bit and enforcing that. And also on day one, Trump did more in his first, 6 months of his presidency than most presidents do in their entire term. And he fulfilled on a lot of what he said. So he shows that he is going to do what he says. A lot of people line on the morality thing of it. I get it. I don't like it either. But I don't see Kamala as squeaky clean either. If you look at some of the things as Attorney General she tried to pass in California and was overridden by the Supreme Court, she's really radical if you look at those things. And you have to dig into her past a little bit. You just can't go off of what she's saying. One of which is people who are incarcerated honoring their reproductive freedoms. All right, so this goes as far as saying that if a man wants a sex change or a woman wants a sex change in prison, it has to be considered and can possibly happen. This goes beyond providing, hysterectomies for women who need it or having complications. This is full on getting into the realm of sex changes. For inmates, shouldn't be allowed. So you're also behind all of this garbage with professional athletes, having transgender athletes perform in where they think they need to. That's absolute garbage. I don't support it. I think she's crazy for even doing that. But she's behind all that kind of stuff. She's for it. So I can't support that. So it's more gun control, I think that Trump's a little more reasonable with better background checks. Kamala wants to get rid of things, although I personally don't see the need for AR-15s in our society. I also feel that if you open the door to banning certain guns, then what happens is you've heard this the term "give an inch, take a mile," and that's what I feel like will happen there. And if you take away our fundamental right to bear arms, you open up the ability for us to be invaded. It's far been known that one of the reasons that America has never been invaded is there are more guns in this country than people. So, where other countries like China and Russia and even Europe, even over in Europe, they have such a ban on guns that the people can't defend themselves even if they want to. And that's what makes America different. Also, whether you like it or not, Kamala's a socialist. She supports socialism. You can see that by her saying, hey, we're going to make sure that people don't price gouge. Honestly, that's a big undertaking. I don't see how she's going to do it. Also, she's saying she's going to cap people for renting. You can't do it. It's against the law. The government can't get involved in people's business dealings. Also, the things about doing, giving money away for houses and schooling. Guess what? That's taxpayer money that you're allocating to give people free education and a very good jump on their house. That wasn't there for me. I couldn't go to school because of it. So, I mean, not that I'm being, saying, hey, I'm mad and want to be vindictive. No, I'm just saying it's taxpayer money. The other thing is all the money that's going out to other countries, and this is no secret. You can fudge FEMA. Hey, you could fudge it. You can go out on their site and see a whole lot though. But if you go into where we're looking how much we're putting towards Ukraine, that's killing America right there. That is killing us, spending that much. Our homeless is out of control. The drug epidemic is out of control. And all of this is being caused by the current administration of Biden and Harris. They opened the border that allowed, I'm not saying all bad people are coming across the border, but there are bad people coming across the border regardless. You can't deny that that's some of what's happening there. And what does that mean? Well, then that brings drugs in, and that brings terrorists in. Okay? So by having an open border like we do, it opened because of them. They say, oh, well, we've made strides, but you created the problem in the first place and you can't fully correct it. So that really doesn't float because you created the problem by undoing Trump policies because you don't agree or because you were wanting to try to do something different. The other thing is Obamacare. Something that people don't realize is about Obamacare is whenever it was put in, or the Affordable Care Act, it required you to have health insurance or get fined. That was that way all the way up to 2019. And in 2019, who was president? And that stopped. Trump was president. Trump was in office and stopped that. So there again, socialist, forcing taxation on people. So, you got Trump. One of the things that I really agree with what Trump wants to do is I agree with the tariffing situation. China is getting around tariffs by building in Mexico and then driving across the border. Okay? So Trump's is going to tariff Mexico. And I agree with that. He wants to bring the factories back to the United States. He wants to bring the jobs back here so that we're not so dependent on other countries. Because what happened in COVID? Everything that had to be outsourced to another country got stifled. We had a big old problem trying to get what we needed because other countries manufactured it. And guess what? They were in a global pandemic too. So their production was down. And of course, they're going to put their people first. You don't hear of China or Russia. You don't hear of them taking care of everybody else, giving money to other countries, really. You don't really. No, you really don't. The United States supplies a lot to other countries. I've heard people say, well, how come we're the richest country in the world and we don't have free healthcare? That's it, because it's getting sent out. All the money is getting sent out to other countries to help them do things. rather than keep it here. And that's something that he wants to do, is he wants to keep things in America. Kamala Harris, another thing that I don't like about her is she flip-flops. I want to hear what she, maybe I've got some things wrong, but I can't make heads or tails out of what she says, especially in debates. And she says just as much false stuff as she does true. Like, for instance, saying that Trump wanted to cut cut Medicare. He doesn't. Or not Medicare. Social Security. He doesn't. It was unpopular. It is something that's almost a decade, getting near a decade old now. Did he say it one time? Yes. Did he go back on it because he learned something from his Republican colleagues? Yes. So no, it's not something that he's looking to do. And I will tell you this much. I have a parent that's retired. How much has it really improved over the current administration? Not much. Not much. And the reason why is it's not enough to offset the inflation, and it's been massive. And some of that is due to COVID. Some of it is. We can't help that. But also Trump supports, a free trade society, a capitalism. Capitalism is what sets us different from other countries, and that is how America has thrived. In any area that has gone more to a capitalist way has survived. Case in point, China. China's communist, but they have one of their big port cities was given special privileges to run more like a capitalist, and it thrived. Now not so much. Now Xi Jinping is trying to cap it because they're too outspoken. They're too rebellious. You realize that communism and capitalism is to take away the rights and make people complacent styles of government, where capitalism encourages you to get off your butt because you aren't going to survive unless you try, unless you work. You can't expect the government to just take you over and do everything for you. So no, on the economy, I definitely go with Trump. I agree with that. I see it. Some people, I know that there are people that are hard workers and they're not doing good, but largely that becomes from the amount of inflation that comes from these kinds of candidacies and these kinds of presidential administrations that we're going through. All right, so yeah, I don't support that. So, those are the main issues for me. Pretty covered a lot of things there, but those are the main ones. I want the border closed down. I want people to be in this country legally and go through the process and the proper screening. If you do that, that is going to control terrorism, that's going to control gang-related violence, and that is going to control drugs. Those are the three things that are really eating America up from the inside out right now. And trust me, don't you think that the other countries who want to see America fall, like China and Russia, are sending people through there? Think about that for a second. What better way to kill a country off than to get them get them in trouble with drugs, especially. Don't we remember the opium wars in China? That was a bad deal for China. They capped it down and got rid of it or minimized it, and their country started doing better. What do you think is going on with the fentanyl crisis in the United States? The same thing. It's killing us. It is killing us. We have to do better, and we need to do better. And another thing that was kind of came to my attention is Trump is also pushing to open up a lot of secret documents. Wouldn't you be interested to know Epstein, Weinstein, now with P. Diddy, who all was on their guest list that was doing all that and participating in the sex trafficking? Wouldn't you like to know? I kind of would. Epstein was very big, had a lot of political friends. In fact, there's pictures of Kamala Harris with Epstein. There's pictures of Trump with Epstein. So there again, that doesn't sway me much because they both have pictures with the man. So I'm sure that he was out in public and took pictures with people and they didn't know. Or maybe they did. I don't know. But, whenever I'm looking for something to edge somebody out, Kamala's is not doing it for me. And it's not because she's a woman. Not at all. I believe that capable people should be in office no matter what sex they are. We need it. One thing that I did like about Kamala is her age. She is younger than Trump. But what I do like about Trump is Vance is younger than Trump, and we're getting some youth in there. We're getting some younger people in there to start learning how to lead this country. We need good leaders. And so I'll take that. But like I said, look up, if you got questions about Kamala, Trump's an open book. He's an ass. He really is. But he says what he means and he does what he says. And I can respect that. Kamala, she's pretty shady. She never sticks with anything. You can see it at her interviews, her debates, or whatnot, and she'll beat a dead horse. She circle talks in interviews. I hate that, because if you've got something to hide, that's what people do, is they circle talk. And she won't do off-script stuff very much either. So it tells me she's a poor talker. She's a poor talker. How do you think that plays in negotiations with other countries? And early in her presidency, she ticked off a lot of people at one of the summits because she giggled too much. And some of the more chauvinistic countries took offense. They did. And so, hey, we can't help that, but that they're chauvinists, but we can help how we talk. We can help that. We can help that we've got to be very careful, and so to me, she's a liability. She's not as an attorney general, she, like I said, she went for an all-out handgun ban at one point in California. And California is a corrupt state. Not to say that there isn't good people in California, but it's pretty corrupt with Hollywood and everything else that goes along with that. It's got a lot of corruption. So you just have to be careful. And so that's where I stand. Those are the reasons why. Like I said, I'm not super for Trump as a person. He seems like a pompous ass, but he comes through. Anybody who's going to make waves is going to piss some people off. You can't make everybody happy, and you're going to offend some people. That's just life. We've gotten too in this cancel culture, and I feel like Kamala plays more into that. And we can't have a cancel culture. It's not fair, because then it becomes so opinionated that nobody can talk. Nobody can speak. Also, Kamala is against free speech. She's very heavily backed by Planned Parenthood. And there's some shady things about Planned Parenthood. There's a lot of controversies around them and their business practices and what they do with the parts of children. There's been some controversy around that, some kind of scandal, some kind of conspiracy about that. Whether they're true or not, I personally don't know, but I just find it interesting that it's out there. How true it is or how untrue it is, I don't know. But everybody can always do their own research. Listen, folks, I want you to pray before you vote. And really ask yourself and ask God to lead you. Because that's what it's going to come down to. Because whether it is Trump or it is Kamala, the bottom line is God is always in control. And we do not need to get mad. We do not need to retaliate. We do not need to be angry. We can be disappointed, but we have to be so careful with our conduct, especially as Christians, because we're under a microscope. Our faith puts us under a microscope. So get out there, vote, contribute, do the best you can to vote for the candidate that most matches your beliefs. And that's all we can do, folks. That's all we can do. The rest is up to God. All glory goes to God. So that's where we need to sit. Listen, folks, I love you all. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. I understand. I'm just giving you my take Whether you agree with it or not, that's cool. If you agree, great. If you don't, great. I believe that we all should be able to freely say how we feel and it be okay. If somebody can say that I identify as this or I identify as that, and it be okay, that I should be able to say that I believe in Jesus. I believe that he is the Son of God. And then I also have my political view that this is where I'm most closely aligned with. And although we don't agree, we should be able to disagree. And if we can't agree to disagree, that just shows how much we haven't changed as a culture, as a society, as a world. So let's work on being that way. Let's put our eyes on being that way. I love you all. Have a great week. Get out and vote. We'll start back up again next week with Perkin. I just deterred this week because, well, it's coming time to vote. This will be the last segment before voting, and I'm just being open, giving you some food for thought. Do with it what you want. It is your choice. That's the beauty of America, is it's your choice. God bless.